What happens when a society no longer embraces a powerful mythology?
What we've got on our hands. If you want to find out what it means to have a society without any rituals, read the New York Times.
And you'd find?
The news of the day, including destructive and violent acts by young people who don't know how to behave in a civilized society.
Society has provided them no rituals by which they can become members of the tribe, of the community. All children need to be twice born to learn to function rationally in the present world, leaving childhood behind. I think of that passage in the first book of Corinthians. When I was a child, I spake as a child, I understood as a child, I thought as a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish things.
That's exactly it. That's the significance of the puberty rites. In primal society, there are teeth knocked out, there are sacrifications, there are circumcisions, there are all kinds of things done, so you don't have your little baby body anymore. There's something else entirely.
Where do these kids growing up in the city on 125th and Broadway, for example, where do these kids get their myths today?
They make them up themselves. This is why we have graffiti all over the city. These kids have their own gangs and their own initiations and their own morality, and they're doing the best they can. But they're dangerous because their own laws are not of the city. They have not been initiated into our society.
Rollo May says there is so much violence in American society today because there are no more great myths to help young men and women relate to the world or to understand that world beyond what is seen.
Yes, but another reason for the high level of violence here is that America has no ethos.
Explain.
Well, in American football, for example, the rules are very strict and complex. If you were to go to England, however, you would find that the rugby rules are not that strict. When I was a student back in the 20s, there were a couple of young men who constituted a marvelous forward-passing pair. They went to Oxford on scholarship and joined the rugby team, and one day they introduced the forward pass. And the English players said, well, we have no rules for this, so please don't. We don't play that way. Now, in a culture that has been homogeneous for some time, there are a number of understood, unwritten rules by which people live. There is an ethos there. There is a mode, an understanding that we don't do it that way.
A mythology.
An unstated mythology, you might say. This is the way we use a fork and knife. This is the way we deal with people, and so forth. It's not all written down in books. But in America, we have people from all kinds of backgrounds, all in a cluster together. And consequently, law has become very important in this country. Lawyers and law are what hold us together. There is no ethos. Do you see what I mean?
Yes, it's what de Tocqueville described when he first arrived here 160 years ago to discover, quote, a tumult of anarchy.
What we have today is a de-mythologized world. And as a result, the students I meet are very much interested in mythology because myths bring them messages.